Hello everyone and welcome to another video by Centipede Geek. Today I have a Netflix exclusive review for you guys. I'm going to review a horror film in the year of 2012 by the name of Airborne. Airborne is directed by a guy by the name of Dominique Burns. Dominique Burns has directed several films in his filmography career. Films such as The Nightclub Days, Alien Uprising, Cockneys vs. Zombies, Strippers vs. Werewolves, How to Stop Being a Loser, and several other films that I'm not going to name. It was written by a guy by the name of Paul Cronell. Paul Cronell hasn't written too many films in his career, but he's done a few things. He did a film by the name of Four in the year of 2011. He did a TV series in 1997 by the name of Planet Mirth, and then a few other things in his writing filmography career. Airborne, the horror film in the year of 2012, stars actors and actresses such as Craig Conway, Simon Phillips, Gemma Atkinson, Alan Ford, Julian Glover, and Mark Hamill. We all know Mark Hamill, obviously, for playing the famous character in the Star Wars films franchise with the name of Luke Skywalker. And he actually has a pretty big part in the film. He actually plays one of the main supporting characters, one of the ones in the radar room, trying to find out why the airplane has disappeared off the radar. So that's kind of a little bit of the plot of the film. But let me tell you guys what Airborne, the horror film of 2012 on Netflix, is all about. Where pretty much all these people get on this airplane. This airplane goes up in the sky, and out of nowhere, all these weird, strange, odd, and pretty much just all sorts of bizarre things start to happen on this airplane. It disappears off the radar several times. It'll disappear. It'll come back on the radar. It disappears again. Then it comes back on. The airplane starts to veer off course, so that people might thinking that they actually might be going somewhere else, because their destination of the film is New York City. And so several of them start to think that they're actually going somewhere else than New York City. I don't want to give too much more away because I don't want to spoil the film, but let's just say that you're in for one heck of a ride when you watch this film on Netflix in the year of 2012 with the name of Airborne. Where pretty much go up in the sky, weird things start to happen. I definitely recommend a watch. It's only only an hour and 20 minutes long, so you won't be wasting too much of your time if you end up not liking it. Excuse me. So, what did I think of the film with the name of Airborne on Netflix for the year of 2012? I loved this film. This film was a great and astonishing achievement. I really enjoyed it. So let me tell you one of the reasons I liked it so much. Big spoilers coming up. I really enjoyed that twist that happens about halfway through the film. Not only is it a horror film, but it's also a thriller, a drama, even a sort of, I guess you could say, a fantasy Chinese, mythology or mythological sort of film, because it first starts off, where you think there's like terrorists and you don't really know what's going on. I first thought that there was something coming up out of the vase. I ended up finding out my theory was true. I thought it was a sort of disease, but you end up finding out it's like this Chinese god, that possesses people, and until it can find the right host, if it can't, it'll kill someone, and it'll only stay in that person for a little bit, and then it'll find someone again until it can find the right host and actually can take that in. But I really like that twist midway through where you find out that there's two people that you never expected that are actually hijacking the plane. I love that twist. Not only do they have that going on, but later in the film it becomes sort of like a cluster. In the film they call it like a clusterfuck, and that's pretty much what this film is when you get down to it. There's a clusterfuck of different things going on. Not only do you have that, the little, two people hijacking the plane, and getting involved with each other, two people you never expected, by the way, as I said earlier. You also have this Chinese mythology thing where it makes it really interesting and intriguing to watch. Performances I enjoyed. Obviously Mark Hamill. He was great in the film. I honestly haven't seen him in too much, so I'm not really too familiar with him besides the Star Wars films, but I know he's been in countless things. But Mark Hamill was great in the film. He played pretty much the guy, the head, of pretty much, the airplane people on the ground, watching the radars, trying to find out things, of where the plane was going. I really enjoyed him. You get to see him yell at times, so he was great to watch on screen. An older actor I enjoyed was the guy by the name of Alan Ford, playing the character of Max Corgan. He played kind of, I guess you could say, a D-bag or a douchebag, for lack of a better word. He played a D-bag old man that had two bodyguards. His bodyguards ended up being one of the guys that ends up hijacking the plane. I like the scene where he gets possessed and he's sort of like acting all crazy, and then when he ends up getting shot by one of the girl, that girl ends up getting possessed. So I love the whole people getting possessed. You know, it's the best thing about this film. It just is just watching the characters. You know, before they get possessed, before the hijacking even happens, watching these people play out the situations they're in, seeing how certain people would react. It had sort of, I guess you could say, sort of a realistic vibe to it. You know, I was thinking to myself while I was watching it, how would I react in this situation? And that's the most entertaining thing about it, is just to say, hey, what would I do? What is the smartest thing to do in this case? And how in the hell would I get myself out of that situation? That's what I enjoyed about it so much. That was just really cool to watch, and overall, I really enjoyed the film in general. Definitely a 5 out of 5 gold stars, for the next Netflix rating, or if you want to give it 10, 10 out of 10 gold stars. It's really cool just to see the certain situations that people will play through in order to get themselves out, making it a very interesting film to watch. I would even love to see a sequel to this film because, Major spoilers coming up. They end it with Mark Hamill's character being possessed by the Chinese god of thunder or whatever it was, but by the Chinese god. They could definitely make a sequel out of that. I love the whole closed environment of the plane, that nice claustrophobic feel that it had. And the second film could be them in New York City, or whatever city they end up landing in. It could actually be them in that city, with Mark Hamill once again coming back to star. That would be really cool. But let's go over my TVs as I always do in my Netflix exclusive reviews to show you guys the film and that sort of thing. Okay, everyone, here is Airborne on Netflix. As I said, it's unrated. I actually found this film in the gory horror film section. A while back I was doing my whole where I would randomly watch horror films on Netflix. I would start on the very first horror film. They always have 75 horror films advertised. And I would start there, and I would go all the way through. I've already seen a good chunk of them. And instead of going to the actual horror section, what I did, I'll show you real quick. What I actually did was I started on the actual gory horror films section, and you can see that the actual first film is an IFC film, the name of Grabbers. I've already seen all these films, Resident Evil and stuff, so what I did was, Dante's Inferno was an animated, so I skipped over that one, and I went straight to Airborne, was the first, the actual 10th film on the list. It was the first gory horror film that I had not seen, so I went ahead and picked that one. And if I keep doing this the next day, it is Thanksgiving break, so I probably will be doing this quite a bit over these Thanksgiving weekends. I have 5 days off out of college. My next horror film that I'll be watching is a zombie film, the name of Zombie Massacre. And if you click on that, you can actually see all the info and stuff. Anyways, just letting you guys know that is most likely what I'll be watching. And if you click on Airborne, you can see the list, you can see the directors and stuff like that. And you guys know how I am. I always show that in my Netflix exclusive reviews. And if I was to go back, instead of going to the gory horror film and actually go to the other list where you actually see the horror films on Netflix, so if you'll give me just a quick second, I can actually go to the horror films and see what I would watch if I was to actually watch just the horror films on Netflix. So if we keep going, if I was to watch the horror films, it would be State of Emergency. But most likely the next review will be either State of Emergency, Zombie Massacre, or A Haunting of Silver Falls. So once again, thanks for watching the video by Centipede Geek for my Netflix exclusive review of the horror film on Netflix by the name of Airborne for the year of 2012. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to my page below, and I will see you guys later with more Netflix exclusive reviews.